What is going on? I'm making this video because I've seen it on Twitter. There's this constant conversation about, particularly as it pertains to the cishet community, cisgendered heterosexual community, and or heterosexual people in heterosexual relationships, or people who are engaging in heterosexual activities, heterosexual relationships. There's this constant conversation going around discussing men and how they don't show up romantically for their girlfriends, their wives, their partners. And it's always the women, like, God, they want to go on dates, they want to have romantic outings, they want to go on a dinner date, wine and dine, go out to their favorite restaurant or have their favorite meal. They want the man to put some type of effort and energy into that date, into that relationship, into that person. And a lot of times they come up very short. It is what it is. And a lot of women who are engaging in these heterosexual relationships with these men are frustrated for good reason. And I'm here to say, as a gay, pansexual, queer, intersex, trans man, it's the same situation dealing with men in the LGBTQ plus gay, queer community. It's no different. A lot of times men just don't seem to care about anything outside of themselves. And then when you ask them to do things, because that was on the tweet, the guy on the tweet was like, well, sometimes women need to speak up and let that man know, hey, this is what I would like to do. This is how I would like to be treated. Here goes some date options, some date ideas, give them some hints, some tips. And perhaps if you talk to the man and share what you're looking for and explain what you want, hopefully that man will take heed and actually implement those things and make it happen. Which I retweeted, and I was like, this is true, and at the same time, this is also a bald-faced lie. Because you can be talking to your blue in the face with some people, and it doesn't matter how many times you've explained that you want to go on dates, that you want to be taken out, that you want to have dinner, that you want something romantic. You can send them Instagram, TikTok videos on date ideas, on romantic outings. You can give them hints, tips, and tricks all day. You can talk into your blue in the face, and the other person can literally be looking at you, going in one ear and out the other. So that's what I meant by it's both true and a bald-faced lie, because at the end of the day, if that person doesn't want to do those things with you, they're not going to. It doesn't matter how many times you've talked about it. Doesn't matter how many times you've brought it up. That person has to actively want to do those things on their own with you because they care about you. Okay? And that's the end all be all. You can't force people to be romantic. They either are or they're not. And then there was another tweet where the man was like, well, a lot of us men grow up in toxic, dysfunctional families where we didn't see romance. We didn't have that demonstrated to us. We didn't see that with our parents. We didn't see our moms being wined and dined and treated with love and dignity and respect. We didn't see the men in our families be romantic and caring and compassionate and loving and sentimental. We didn't see the men in our family, make dinner or take our moms or the women in our family out on dates or do romantic things with them. And while all of this is very true in many cases, it's also true for women. Women also are growing up in the exact same dysfunctional, toxic, abusive households. And guess what? A lot of times, I'm not going to say a lot of times, but some of the times the women, despite growing up in that, still learn that, hey, you should show love and compassion and be romantic and do things for your partner. It's really odd to me how women are expected to be caring and loving and go out of their way and beyond the call of duty for the men in their lives, for the children in their lives, for their sisters, for their parents, for their friends. They're constantly expected to give and 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 give. Yet very little is that ever reciprocated, and the excuses that a lot of men use of, well, I didn't grow up with that and no one ever showed me. Okay, same thing with women. A lot of people weren't showed these things. That's still not a justification for not doing anything romantic. And after a certain while, you're too old to still be trying to use what happened to you as a child as an excuse for why you're not doing anything today as an adult. And I think a lot of us need to hear that. Because it's really just a blatant cop-out. You don't care about that person, and that's exactly why you choose to ignore their wants and needs and desires. Okay? It's just really wild, right? Like, we have to stop settling for mediocrity and putting up with blatant bullshit. I'ma just say it. Because someone who actually likes you, who actually cares about you, who actually thinks the world of you, wants you to be happy, they're going to do what it takes to meet your needs. And a lot of times the needs that people are talking about is literally simply planning a damn dinner date. Like, y'all can't plan a dinner date? You have problems. And honestly, maybe you need to stop dating and go and learn how to be a better person. Because it's just really weird how, y'all act like someone is asking you to, perform brain surgery when they're asking for a date. Like, y'all have no romantic. And then a lot of it, and I'm also going to say this too, because I had to learn this the hard way. When you have to beg and plead for simple, basic things, you're already doing too much. That's already a red flag that it's time to back up and get out of there, okay? Because a person who likes you isn't going to have you going through all of that, okay? You're not going to have to keep bringing up the same conversations over and over, the same topics over and over, talking about the same thing over and over. They're going to actually learn, they're going to listen, they're going to hear, they're going to adhere, and they're going to start implementing things because they like you. So, and I said it on my Twitter, like, stop following these people, stop chasing after these people, stop begging and pleading for bare basic things. A lot of us that are, out here and about, or who watch my YouTube videos, we're all 25 and up. A lot of us are well into adulthood. So the stuff that we're asking is not a lot. At this age, you should be able to do that. And we can't keep using what we didn't have growing up, what we experienced as a child growing up. Like, yes, our childhood plays a major role in the types of relationships and behaviors that we will participate in. And at the same time, you can't keep blaming stuff that happened 20 plus years ago for why you're not doing what you need to do today. A lot of us have become so comfortable with constantly using our childhood trauma as a baggage, as a crutch, to justify piss poor behavior that we're participating in today as adults. It's old, it's redundant, and if we're really going to be honest, it's manipulative as hell, because we all know these people. Oh, well, my mom didn't do this, my dad didn't do this, and this happened to me when I was 8. And they will bring that up every time you attempt to check them for the BS that they're doing, because they don't want to be accountable. And that's really what it all boils down to. You have to start realizing when some people are just manipulative and they're stuck playing the victim, they don't want to heal, they just want to continue to live out the same toxic patterns over and over and over and over and over again, and waste your time and drain you of your energy. It comes a time where you have to just say, you know what, I get it. You're not into romance, you're not into dating, you don't want to plan dates, that's great. You're a cool person, but I gotta bag up and I gotta go and talk to people who want to do what I want to do. And we have to stop feeling bad about that. Especially to my women out there, whether you're a cis woman, a trans woman, an intersex woman, and you're in a heterosexual relationship or participating in heterosexual behaviors with a man, know your worth and know that there are men out here. There are people out here who will take you on dates, who will plan dates. You know what I mean? Who don't mind being sentimental, being caring, loving, compassionate, romantic. We exist. We're out here. So I just think that needs to be said, because a lot of people waste a lot of time begging for the bare minimum, and you don't have to do that, right? And trust me, I talk about this from my own experiences. I was one of those people begging for the bare minimum. And now I'm just like, no, I can go talk to somebody that's already going to do that. I don't have to sit up here and beg and plead for a simple date. Also, take yourself out on dates. Wine and dine yourself. Treat yourself in a good manner, because then you can get accustomed to what you like and what you don't like, what you will put up with and what you won't put up with. And then when you do get out here and start dating other people or multiple people at once, because as far as I'm concerned, dating is not a relationship. It's not a commitment. I'm not entitled to you. You're not entitled to me. I'm not obligated to you. You're not obligated to me. We're getting to know each other, and I'm getting to know other people as well, because that's what dating is. And may the best person win, or the best people win. And that's really how I look at it. But to each his own, right? Do what works for you. I'm going to do what works for me. But yeah, that tweet really just got me going. And it's just like the word salad that a lot of men participate in. They find every way to justify being piss poor human beings and doing the bare minimum, while at the same time expecting you to jump through hoops for them. It's just wild. You will be going through a triathlon trying to prove how much you care and support and respect and admire and love them, but they will never do the same thing for you. And that's where, you know what, we can't do that anymore. Things have to be reciprocated. And I think a lot of men need to learn how to stop being selfish. And that's really what it is. It's the narcissism, it's the selfish, it's the egotism, very self-centered. They don't seem to care about other people, okay? And then they're only doing things so they can get something out of you. Also, that's another thing. It's like, you know, am I really taking you out on a date because I know you like dates and I want to see you happy? Or am I taking you out on a date because I'm expecting to get some later, right? Like, things that we need to start thinking about. Like, it's just at the end of the day, regardless of your sexuality, regardless of your gender, if you're always operating from a self-centered mindset, you are the worst type of person to be in a relationship with. And that doesn't matter if it's a friend, romantic, platonic, business, etc. You can't be around a bunch of self-centered, selfish assholes where everything is about me, and screw everybody else. And everybody else is literally an accessory to that person because they're so self-centered. So that's what I mean by it just comes a time where you have to be like, this isn't working, and I'm going to exit stage left, and I'm going to keep on moving with my life. And again, This seems to mostly be a cisgendered heterosexual situation, or a person can be trans and be heterosexual. It just seems that a lot of heterosexual relationships and just relationships in general involving cis men are just, they're one-sided. There's no other way to put it. They're very one-sided, and you get why people get upset. Because it's like other men dealing with cis men are dealing with the same situation that the women that were complaining about the dates on Twitter are dealing with. It's the same setup, okay? Like this demographic is selfish as hell, okay? And they're allowed to get away with being mediocre, being mediocre at the end of the day, because nobody's holding them accountable. And this starts at home. This starts at home. It really does. You know, when you look at how boys are raised, they're literally allowed to get away with murder, and they actually get away with murder. And then you wonder why, when they become adults, it's pretty much a dead end. It's a dead cause. This person has been allowed to be a selfish asshole and be mediocre their entire life. And if you think you're going to change that, and that's another thing, stop doing these build a nigga, build a bitch workshops. It's not your job to try to build a grown person. They should already be coming built. Okay? So that's what I mean by, we got to start paying attention to that instead of putting so much energy into things that are draining us, that is not serving our best interests and needs. And that's kind of funny, right? Because you have one group who's overly selfish, and then you have another group that is overly selfless to the detrimental of themselves. And I'm learning that for myself. Like, you can't constantly be everything for everybody and then you are nothing for yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. And I think a lot of us need to really hone in on that, right? Like, I have to be replenished. I have to have energy for myself. And yeah. So anyways, I just wanted to make that video because I saw the tweet. I made like 3 or 4 retweets based off of the tweet that I saw. And I was like, let me do a video on this because this is like an issue for everybody. And it's just like, what is going on? Like, and again, stop using, well, I didn't grow. Okay, a lot of us grew up in dysfunctional relationships and families and toxic families and household structures. In the meantime, I still know how to take someone out on a date. I still know how to tune in and pay attention to how they're feeling and pay attention to what they're saying and actually have an interest in that person. So I can't, I don't agree with the whole, but I didn't grow up seeing that either. And I still know how to take people out on dates. So again, stop using that as an excuse and a cop out. It's just you being lazy, you not really caring. And 9 times out of 10, you're a user. You're a user. You found somebody that you can use, and that's exactly what you're doing. And that's what a lot of these dudes do, okay? You know, and more than likely, you're probably using that person as a placeholder because in the same breath, they'll give you all of this, woe is me, I didn't know how to do this, and my family didn't do this, and blah, blah, blah. But then they get with the person that they actually want to be with, and all of a sudden, they're going on dates. They're planning romantic getaways. Exactly, because they got with the person that they actually want to be with. Someone who actually likes you and wants to be with you is not going to have you going through all of this. I'm out.